Yes, yes, yes. We're live. We made it. Thank you everybody for waiting. Thank you for joining. And if you're joining after the fact, thank you for not being here. How dare you? I will see you live next time. But for now, we are live. We are here at the Porsche Center Oscar in Bottom. We are here with Foto.no, and we are here with Sony, and we're going to show off not only Sony's new A1, we're going to show off what it can do. With this beautiful monster behind us, we're going to be shooting cars today. We're going to be playing with lights. We're going to be trying to do maybe one, maybe two setups. We'll see what we have time for. And we're just going to play around and see basically how certain lighting situations play with certain results in the computer. So with that, let me introduce you to the tech. You know the car. It's a 911. It's cool, right? 992 Heritage Edition. Very rare, very exclusive. We're very lucky to be able to show it. Speaking of which, this is the Sony A1. That is right. The monster new flagship camera from Sony, 50 megapixels. We're going to use all of them today. It's going to be rad. It's going to be badass. We are shooting RAW, despite Photoshop not getting with the times. We'll be using Sony's own software to make it happen, using Viewer and Remote from Sony Imaging Edge. It's going to be hopefully clean, hopefully seamless. You never know with these things. We're going to figure it out as we go. So, step one is to find the shot. Yeah, let's just get into it. Why not? Full send. Step one is to find the shot. And the shot is, in my mind, pretty obvious. I want to shoot 45 degrees. It's the classic, right? You shoot from the corner. One thing it does is it helps to eliminate your own reflection from the car. Because if you're shooting front on or side on, you have too many flat panels, and then you're going to see me and my white fat ass in the paint. We want to get rid of that, so we're going to shoot from the angle. That also helps show the rims. It helps show some of the lines, and thanks to the awesome lighting here inside the workshop at Porsche Center Oscar in Bottom, we have these cool lines that sort of flow over the muscle, the shoulders, the coolest lines of the car. And what a car it is. It is beautiful. If you're a car nerd, I hope you're freaking out as much as I am, because this thing is 10 times cooler in real life than it is on camera, I promise you. So our goal today is to help justify it. And to help out with that, we got our dudes here in the corner. Do you guys want to introduce you? Oh, you're not mic'd up. Shit. No, so Morten, Kieran. I've messed that up every time. These are the dudes. Kieran, representing Sony. The man, the myth, the legend, himself helping make this happen. Provided the camera, provided the opportunity. Thank you very much. Happy to have you here. Morten, fellow photographer, also shooting cars. Badass dude. If you don't follow Morten Dodson, right, on Instagram, you should be, because he's the man. So let's get to it. Step one is going to be playing with the light. When it comes to shooting cars, it helps to think in terms of one photo at a time, and then we compress those photos in the end, whether or not it's in Photoshop or maybe you're taking multiple photos to sort of figure out where every single light goes. All of those things you learn are going to come together in the end to create one photo. I think I'm going to end up taking 2 or 3 photos, and then later in the week, on Friday, I'm going to be showing you how to put them together and create a really awesome result with all 3 of them. Step one is to focus on one light at a time. It doesn't help to go full blast and set up all the lights and then just hit go. You'll never notice the difference between the lights. It's too complicated. I know I'm too simple to understand that, so I assume many others are like me. Very pretentious of me to say, but it is what it is. So the first light that we're going to focus on is the ambient light, the light around us, the light we can't change. And for that, we are going to set up the shot. I have it on a tripod just to get the most quality out of the shot as possible. If it's too dark, I want to be able to use a long shutter speed. I don't want to be tied into only being able to shoot handheld. I want to bump up the aperture to, let's go with f8 to get the sharpest shot possible. I'm using the 16-35 f2.8 from Sony, by the way, the monster, the G Master. And we are going to take the shutter speed down to brighten it up. We get a lot of quality at ISO 200. You can go up to, I mean, I haven't played much with this camera, so I'm sort of talking out of my ass at this point, but from experience, You can go up to about 1600, maybe 3200 without really sacrificing too much quality. So we're gonna keep it at 200. Say we're happy with that. I get lazy in moments like this, so I'm gonna stick with that. We have the polarizing filter on the front. I need to tighten that up because it's disagreeing with me. And we're just gonna twist it around until we see where it's really helping us. And I don't know if we're viewing me or the camera at this point. Oh yeah, we're at viewer. So there we go. Now you can see live. So if you twist the polarizer around, you can see that there's only one spot at a time that the polarizer can remove light. So we're gonna focus on just the side, for example, because I think the side has a lot of cool, the sticker, it's got a lot of cool details. And we're just gonna play with that for now. Focus, I'm gonna go manual. We're gonna use focus peaking or focus magnifier and just get it perfect. And I think that's pretty close to it. Oh, look how the lines lead into the headlight. Oh, I can move the screen with it's on touchscreen, that's cool. And I think that's a good place to start. From the live preview, I can tell that it's lit pretty decently. Maybe a little bit darker would help, but let's start there. And with that, we're gonna take our very first picture. There you go. And we're done. I will see you, no, I'm joking. So let's take a look in the computer, see what it looks like, make sure we're happy with it. We're going into viewer. The white balance seems all right. One thing I would recommend is going into the actual white balance and making sure it's not an auto, just so you get consistency throughout the frames. Daylight is a little bit too warm. There we go. No, underwater auto. We might be better off doing a custom, but you know what? I'm going to stick with auto just for the ambient. But when it comes to lighting up the car itself, we know that the lights that we are using are daylight temperature, so we'll be switching to daylight. You can fix that in post. If you're shooting in RAW, you have full control over that. So we'll worry about that later. For now, I'm pretty happy with how this looks. I'm gonna try moving the polarizer around just to get a few more frames to play with. So if we put the polarizer on the hood and take one, and the goal is to not move the camera, so it makes our job a lot easier in post. And I'll put the polarizer on, well, it was on the hood and the windshield, which is nice, double duty. I'll put it on the shoulder and we'll call that good. So now that we have a good starting frame with pretty good ambient light, we need to add in a second light. Heads up. One way we can do that is to set up our own. So these don't need to be plugged in. Sorry, I should have prepared a little bit for that because we're not going to shoot tethered to the wall, but we will be charging along the way if we need to. So we'll start with this one. This is a light of my own, I assume, a Profoto B10 Plus. Yes, it is a monster. It is portable. It has no cords. Look at it go. Wow, no cords. How about that? It also has a very good modeling lamp. We could become perfectionists and turn off the overhead lights and really get control over where we're pointing the light. But I think for our purposes, this will be strong enough to overpower anything else around us, so we'll stick to this. I'm gonna leave it pretty wide, just so it sort of overflows a little bit. I will leave it bare, because this paint is metallic. It is a very shiny, very deep paint, and if you put too much of a softbox on something like this, you're gonna add extra reflections that I don't think belong on there. So, now we need to judge where we want it. When it comes to lighting cars, it is important to remember that you're not playing with light, you're playing with the shadows. You are not only lighting up certain parts of the car, you're trying to cast shadows where you want them to be. I think in here, because the ambient light is so consistent all the way around, we want to sort of mimic that a little bit. We don't want it to look too out of control. We don't want it to look too crazy, too weird. So let's just put it up high. We'll start with the front. I think is a good place to start, and we'll eventually add lights around the car so it lights up the whole car. And we're going to think of this in terms of two pictures. One picture is going to be the ambient picture, and the next picture is going to be of the car. Those are the two pictures we're going to put together. So let's start with this. We will move this light over here. I'm going to try to put it just about 90 degrees from where the camera is, so about 45 degrees on the other side, just so when it does hit the lines, like this line here from the headlight or this line here on the hood, it's going to cast a little bit of a shadow and we can see those details because it's the muscle of the car that we want to show, the shoulders, we want to show the lines, the curves. So let's put this up. This is at channel 1A, it is good to know. This can go up relatively high because the rest of the lights in the building also go up relatively high. So make sure we're putting this down. I'm going to open it up a bit more because it doesn't matter how tight it's zoomed. The zoom reflector is super useful, by the way. If you don't have one, highly recommend it. And let's go up really high. Let's try that. It is set at 10 right now in terms of power, which is definitely too much, but let's give it a go and see what happens. So we have no feedback. Okay, see, brand new camera. I'm gonna have to set it up for, yeah, here comes the fun part. Now I get to look through menus. So the biggest issue that I'm having today is setting up the camera to be able to do what I want it to do. And the one thing I want it to do is flash. And there it is. Wireless flash on. All right, let's try that. Fill flash. All right. So we look back at the photo. We have a more brightly lit car. This is good. It's a good start. But I'm starting to notice that maybe it would be nice if I turned off the ambient lights because I'm not going to be able to overpower them. Not at f8, at least. So I'm going to run up. Actually, can one of you guys run up and ask the guy who's still here if you can turn off the. Is it okay with you guys that I turn off the lights?
Yeah.
I'll turn on the modeling lights. While he's running up and turning off the lights, let's turn on some modeling lights so we can see what we're doing. That way I'm not mysterious. I'm not in the dark. So, this little fun game. Turn this on. Ta-da! I'm just gonna put these up around the car, so, whoops, sorry. So everybody can see what's going on. There we go. We have one. This was something we should have thought about. But this is part of the fun. I hope you guys are still doing okay. By the way, do we have a chat? Can we read what's going on in the chat? All right, there's not much going on in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, there is a chat. There is a chat. We have, Henrik is already in it. Henrik says, how's it going, by the way?
Good.
Henrik says, hey Kyle, stoked to join you live for this Porsche photo shoot. Yes, Henrik, stoked you're here. Henrik is here quite often on my YouTube channel. Yes, look at this. I know this hurts you, but it's good for me. So, this is probably, we got a tail. Probably a little bit dark, but we'll play with it until we get it right. So,
Good, man. It's the A7S.
The A7S can conquer all. It can see in the dark. It's got all-seeing night vision. You cannot get anything past it. So, this on. I'm just going to turn these on so I can see what I'm doing. But the white balances are all different. Whatever, good enough. Then, now if I'm around the car, you can see me better. Yeah, problem solved. Cool, that's what we're here for. Once again, to finish my thought, we have a chat, and if you're in the chat, I can see what you are saying. I can answer your questions live in real time, and I will give you a shout out. How about that? Sounds pretty fun. Then, this photo, now we can start playing with it. I'm going to shoot one. I just got to make sure that these aren't going to also blast the car. And to do that, I'm going to, one, figure out how to use them. There we go. Air group. Oops, that's not what we want. I'm going to put them on channel 2 so my trigger doesn't reach them. Then I have control of 1 light at a time instead of 8 lights. Then air channel 2. And as I want to use these extra lights, I will switch them back to channel 1, which is what that light is on, which is what we're going to test now. So let's see. Where are we in terms of lighting? Okay, still a bit dark. This is good. It's a good start. I'm going to bring the lights a little bit. Can you move the light a little bit closer to the car? Yeah. There we go, and you can drop it down a bit more. A little bit more. Let's try it there. So, I'm going to test this. Let's see. That's a little bit better. I want it to sort of move around the car a bit more and lean over the car almost. What I might do is also change some of the settings so that the car becomes brighter, because right now I think everything's a little bit too dark. Oh yeah, sorry. I haven't set up the camera to give me feedback when I click the shutter. So as we can see, we're starting to drop a little bit of shadow over the lines, which is good. It's a good start. It is not where we need to be, but it's a good place to begin from. So let's pull the light a little bit further back and a little bit lower. And then this should give us some more shadows. And, oh my God, there we go. And the modeling lamp is on. So let's try this. Let's see how this feels. Once again, we're just playing with 1 light at a time. So if I hit the trigger there, that's a nice rim light across the front of the car. I don't think I'm going to move it too much more. I think it looks okay there. Now let's work on the shoulders of the car. So let's work on the rear shoulder. Basically from these lights, what I want is just a little bit more richness, a little bit more depth in the paint, because I think the ambient light, it does a good job, and it's supposed to because it is a workshop, but I think I can just get a little bit more out of it. For example, you can tell when I move the lights just over the car, if you look at the paint now, it becomes a little bit more sparkly, a little bit more rich. That's kind of the vibe that I want to get out of this. So with this light, I'm going to try to hit this back corner of the car. Since all the ambient lights are up over the car, I want to push this up, get it a bit higher. Let's start with the top one. And also, before I do that, let's change it back to channel 1. And then back, and then let's go up. There we go. This is going to hit a little bit more similar to what the lights overhead are doing. We're going to address the light on the side afterwards, but for now, let's just try to light the shoulders. So if I go to trigger, did that one even fire? It did. There we go. Now look at the shoulder. The shoulder and the cross member on the cross member. What's the name of that? Any car people here? The roll bar. Let's go with roll bar. Look at the highlights on the roll bar. Now that stands out a lot better. I think we get a lot more out of that. If I am not mistaken, the polarizing filter should still be on the side of the car, and it is. One thing we can do, though, is put the polarizing filter on the front of the car, and instead of trusting the polarizing filter, we have a bunch of flags here. We can move those so they get rid of all the reflections in the paint. This is going to be a little bit of a task, but it's always worth it. I'm going to start with one. Sandbags are for safety. We have a lot of, speaking of safety, a lot of expensive shit around here, so look at this. It's like a My Chemical Romance music video. Some Black Parade stuff.
Like David Copperfield if you just sit here.
Ta-da! There I am. Imagine if you came around and I was gone. I'm not going to do too much more except for just put this right behind the car. And now everything in the paint of the car back here is going to just be black, hopefully. And if it's not enough, we set up a second one. But my light, as always, is over top of the... I should probably sandbag it. Thank you, Thomas. This is a very rare, very expensive car. I do not want to be the guy known for breaking it. And there we go. Safety first. Nice. So let's take a look at where the shadow or the reflections are on the car now. I have the polarizing filter on the front of the car. If I hit the shutter button, the car has a lot of curves. It might take a lot of these. But we're getting there. If you look here at the reflection, very rich, very clean. So we'll just keep putting it there. Do you guys want to give me a hand with that? Sure. So we're just going to encase the car basically. So we'll start putting more of these things and just line it up, and then eventually we'll put one on the bottom to get rid of the reflections on the bottom of the car. This, if you don't own a polarizer, is kind of a good way of doing it. If you own a polarizer, you can shoot two photos, one with the polarizing filter on the side of the car and one with it on the front to get rid of all the reflections. But if you want it done perfectly, you either get an all black studio where you can black everything out, or you just bring these with you. It's not easy, but it's kind of fun. And that's kind of the point. So the idea is just create a little wall and try not to let any gaps in between the curtains. So if I can move this one, there we go. There we go. So let's try that and see what else needs to be. It might be that we have to move it closer. If I hit the trigger now. There we go. Now we are playing with fire. So the only parts left that is showing reflections. God, look at how rich and clean the paint is on the shoulders. The only part left is here on the bottom. So what I would recommend is that we move these in just to get rid of as much of that as possible. So all of these can go one step in towards the car. And if we have sandbags, it'd be nice to bag them up. There we go. There's one. There's two. You want to overlap it from the front. Then I will move this back here. And this one will come down. And I will take this one off. By the way, I made these myself. I got bored one day and stapled some felt to some wood. You gotta be careful not to overlap any of the tire, because then we're gonna have to Photoshop that back in later. But we want to cover the ground because you can see a lot of reflection of the ground in the photo. And there we go. You're gonna be able to see this a little bit. But let's see how much. If there's any little bits that are missing, we can just remove it in post. I think that is giving ourselves a little task to do later, but that's all right. So let's try this. And I think we have blocked the light now. And we have. And we also have a little gap there. So I'm just going to fix that by moving this forward. These things take time. It's all part of the fun, hopefully. This I'll drop a little bit lower because it's not doing too much there. And then I gotta come around the other side, but this can also go closer now and can hit more of the car. Ta-da! Then I'll drop this a little lower, and I'll drop this a little lower. And we should be in a much better situation. So we have a little gap here. I'm just going to fix. Nothing is precious here except for the car, so you can walk all over the blankets. All right, here we go. Let's see how we're doing. Once again, keep the polarizer. I'm just gonna make sure the polarizer is in the place we want it. Yes, right on the hood, and as it hits the hood, it also hits the front windshield. Let's take a shot. And there we go. Now we have a clean, very, very clean shoulder on the side of the car. If I zoom in, that's looking pretty good. One thing I do want to do is hit more of this and move the blanket a bit out of the way of the tire. Then I think we are okay. Maybe I'll move the light a little further down so I can attack more of the side of the car. But I think we're doing okay. I might try to brighten the photo a bit. So I will do a shot with ISO 250. Since we started at such a low ISO, we have room to play, which means I can go up to maybe 1600 and still be able to put the photos together, and realistically you won't notice. So I want to move the light a little bit around so it hits the number better. This is something with a modeling lamp that shouldn't be too difficult. Since the car is so low, we don't have to have these so tall, so we can lower it down so we can see what we're doing. And with that, I can also lower the light. So, too many light stands. Let's do this, and then lower the light here, and tilt the light up. Since it's lower, it's got to be pointed a little bit more up. Uh-oh, I have turned off the modeling lamp. And then we'll put it closer in and turn it so it's pointed at the car. How's that look? Any luck? Yeah, you can see the number 7 a little bit better. Maybe if I bring it a little bit more around, you'll be able to see it even better. You also then get this line down here at the bottom a little bit more dramatic because it is reflecting upwards and the paint is dispersing the light. So it looks super pretty. So here we go. Let's try this, see how it looks. This is not something you have to do on every side of the car, by the way. It's just a lot easier to do it on the really broad side. So if I go into remote, hit the shutter, let's look at the difference. Huge difference. Yes, now we're cooking with gas. Is that the saying, or is it now we're cooking with fire? Anybody know what that saying is? Before we take the next shot, let's look at the chat. What's going on, everybody? Roger, that Porsche, go Kyle. Roger is a Porsche guy. He would know. Roger, thank you for dropping by, man. I'm happy to have you here. Henrik, when you are shooting with 2 flashes like this situation, do you prefer having them at the same channel to control the power, or divide them, 1 on each channel? It is smart to have them on 1 on each channel. I will keep them both on channel 1, but I will give them their own like A, B, C controlling, so I can sort of play with them. But I am sort of setting up the photo, or I'm changing the camera more than I'm changing the flashes. So I'm trying to leave the flashes as powerful as they can be. Because I am shooting at f8, I will move the ISO around to sort of compensate for them. So the flashes will be as strong as possible. If it's too much, I'll move it further away. If it's too little, then I will get closer, as I've been doing with this. Philip, go Kyle. Philip Oman, thank you for joining, man. I'm happy to have you here. Aneta Skutovic, tell me if I pronounced that right. Getting some great DIY ideas for building a studio here. Yes, the blankets are key. I'm telling you, people love the blankets. Henrik says, or is it more beneficial to have one as a flash and then one that's placed in the rear of the 911 as a fill key light? The blankets make a huge difference enhancing the red metallic paint. I mean, you can do it whichever way that you feel works. I like to use both as almost equals. Using a fill flash is not the smartest idea when it comes to a car if you have ambient lights like we do, because then the ambient light is going to take care of that, and when you combine them in post, that way the car's paint matches where the light would come from. It's like when filmers want to play with stuff in post, they'll always have like a chrome or silver ball with them on set. and I'll use that to get an idea of where the light's coming from. Our ambient shot is going to be that chrome silver ball. Mats, dope car. Mats Anderson, wish you could be here. Him and I have a pretty cool project coming out soon with the A1 as well. It's going to be dope. For now, one thing I want to change is I made a violent crime that I told everybody not to do. I covered part of the wheel with a blanket, so I'm just going to expose that just so I have a wheel to Photoshop in later and I don't have to manually move things around in Photoshop. So if I hit the shutter, how we looking? Pretty good. So we have full control over the light. The biggest issue we would have had is here you can see the reflection of the lights themselves, but they're pretty small and will be easy to Photoshop, which is nice. That is the goal. The interior is also getting lit up pretty dramatically. That's from the other lights. We will worry about that in a second. I'm pretty happy with where this is at. I think it's pretty good. I might do one more shot just to sort of fill in here, but I think we have enough information to play with there. Having said that, let's do one more and just call it good there. I don't want to spend too long setting up lights. It's not the most fun part of the shoot, is it? But then again, maybe that's why you came here. So I'm going to lower this. Once again, it's a small car. I'm going to lower this, and little movements make a very, very big difference. So now this is about 30 centimeters lower, something like that, and it's hitting way more of the car's paint. So let's go and take one more shot, and with this shot, I'm going to stay relatively zoomed in on the viewer so you can see the difference here. And we'll hit the shutter. And if you look at the viewer, watch this. There you go, a little bit more lit up. I don't want to move it any further because I still want the shoulders to stand out. I still want them to be clean. One thing, since I have the light right here, I'm going to move the light up a little bit, maybe a bit further back, and I'm going to light up this part and move a flag behind it so it doesn't get hit too much from the ambient light. But other than that, I think we're pretty good at this spot. So if I can get one of you guys to move this light around to the back of the car and just put it pretty tall. I'm going to move this light up. I'm going to regret that. This is the cheapest light stand I have, and because of that, it gets stuck constantly. There it is. Okay, it's going to be impossible to fix later. So I'm going to move this back up high so it hits the top of the shoulders and not the side again. And I want this to reach the back of the car. So
You want this in back?
that's perfect, yeah. This high, right back here. And as you can see on the shoulders of the car, it is reaching. That looks pretty decent to me. Let's go take a look. I'm feeling pretty confident. This is a lot of guess and check, but it's part of the fun. So once again, we're looking right here now, right in this little corner of the car where there was ambient light. We want it gone. So click the shutter and it's gone. There we go. Now we have a clean plate for that part of the car. Yes, we're moving. This is good. This is good. So let's go back to this. Looks good. I like the light down the side of this car here. I think that looks good. The one thing left to do on this side is the mirror looks pretty good. Everything looks pretty clean. The rims can be a little bit lighter, but that's it's part of the fun. Now we need to light up this shoulder. This has been neglected. By the way, I always forget this. Before we get too far, I need one of you guys to remind me after we use all the lights to turn on the headlights on the car and get a shot with the headlights on. I always forget it. And if you do forget it as much as me, you can easily, Damien Plisco told me this, you can easily just Google a high-res photo of the car and steal it. It is what it is. It's not too difficult to fix, but it's very important to remember. So now we want to hit this part of the car. And for that, we are going to basically move the whole setup just further down the car. So if we start with the one on the ground, And then you boys start moving some of these flags just further around and sort of, I want to get rid of the reflections here, more or less, at least up to where that natural light is. So we grab this, and oops, sorry. Tuck this right underneath here. Don't want to cover the tire, because that's a pain to Photoshop later. That's pretty good. You can move it even closer. So if I'm standing roughly where the camera is.
Close to the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just move it like all the way up to it. And then you can lift that flag up a bit. If we want full control over the light, then we have to sort of encase it in its own little studio since we're shooting on location. And for that, I'm gonna move this. Same spot. Heads up, everybody, I'm coming through. Right about here, and I don't think the camera is blocked. And then I'm gonna take our trusty flash and put it right on the part of the car that wasn't getting hit very hard. And peekaboo, hello. There we go. I think that's hitting right where we want it. So let's keep it on the same settings. It's more or less the same distance as it was to the rear shoulder of the car. That way we're going to get consistency. Make sure we don't see the reflection of the light in the paint, and we do. So we need to fix that. The way we're going to fix that is by moving the light. But I will shoot one frame just to have it, just to prove my points. And we're looking here. There we go. Since we see the reflection of the light, we should move the light. And to do that, I'm just going to try to move it backwards. Actually, I'll get one of you guys to do it while I'm monitoring. So, Kieran, if you move the light, yeah, just back. See what happens there. It becomes a little bit smaller, which is nice, easier to Photoshop. That's better. That's much better. Let's try that. So, I'm going to hit the shutter button. Let's take a look in Viewer. Much better. That's a way easier thing to Photoshop out. It's still not perfect, but it is what it is. Yeah. Never let perfection get in the way of good enough. One thing you can also do if you really want to be picky is you can put flags over the top of the car and try to remove some of the reflections that are going to pop up right about here. So you have to think of it in terms of line of sight, right? If you're looking from over there at here, you're going to be seeing what's up there in the paint. So if you take another flag and you really want to get it perfect, you hold the flag up here, then you're going to get rid of all the reflections in the hood. And we can do that, but the moment you start doing that, you have to do the entire car pretty consistently. And an easy way to avoid having to do that is using a polarizing filter. But since we have that, why not in the same frame try to perfect this light, which seems to have turned off? It has not. It is still going. Let's remind ourselves of why that's important. It looks pretty good. I might set up another one back here and just get rid of everything on the roof, or at least bring out more highlights on the roof. Put the polarizer back on the hood. And we'll go with one more light. Do we have another light? Maybe not. Have I used all of them? Yeah, I'll take this one. So, do we have another cone? That I am fairly certain we do. There we go. How do you take the barn doors off? I've never had to play with these. Are you just not going to tell me? I know you know how to take these off. How do you take these off? Come on, don't make me look like an idiot. This feels like productive. I'm just going to start ripping it apart. No. What? How are you? Have you figured it out?
I'm just trying to
You just,
yank it out.
yeah, I was just trying to rip it out as well. In the meantime, while I'm ripping this off, let's check out the chat. What's going on? Tommy 2.0. Hi, Kyle. Solid comment, Tommy. Thank you very much. Tommy also says, oh, yeah, thank you very much. Nice to get a walkthrough on lighting. Really needed that. Thanks. Tommy, I hope you appreciate it, man. I'm having a really good time helping you guys out, and you guys are helping me out. It helps a lot to walk yourself through this process and to be able to talk about it in real time. Walter says, cool seeing a fellow ginger photographer. Great job. You know what? I have my mom to thank for that. You know, I'll just use it with the barn doors. I've always wanted to, so it's perfect. Oh, you figured it out. How did you do that?
I just pulled it out.
You just ripped it
yanked
out.
yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's how it works. Just, I'll pay you for that broken light later.
How many photographers does it take?
To change a light. So now we have a third light, and if memory serves me correctly, we wanted to hit the top of the hood with this one. So I'm going to turn this up to 10 so it matches all the others. Let's move it over here. Now it's going to reflect somewhere on the paint. That's kind of impossible to avoid. So we just need to figure out where on the paint it is reflecting. Put it back to channel 1 so my trigger hits it. And let's raise it up a bit. And we are almost there. Almost. There we go. Okay, so let's see. Fingers crossed we get it the first time, but we never do. I think it's going to be right in the middle of the hood. There's just going to be a big spot, and there is. So we need to avoid that. Let's take a photo just so we can see it. Right about here. There we go. Nasty. It's also really dusty in here, apparently. So I'm going to ask one of you guys to move it further back and further towards the tail end of the car, and let's just see where it goes. All the while I'm monitoring it. That's pretty good. It is still right in the middle of the hood. Let's go, yeah, so let's just go to extremes and see what happens. If you go further, way further, it should leave the hood now-ish, but now it's not going to reach the car very well. We can take one photo and just make sure of that. Well, look at that. That's pretty fancy, though. Let's instead move it further, closer to this light. And this light, I'm going to end up moving further around the front of the car. You can move it pretty much right here underneath this 911. There you go. And then this one, I will move to here. And with this light, my main goal is just to drop a shadow on the front of the car, basically. So I'm going to move it pretty much right here. It has been repurposed. And in spirit of thinking one light at a time, let's ignore that second light we just added. Although it does seem like it's in a pretty good spot. So let's hit it. Take a look. There we go. Much richer paint, much cleaner. This is a much easier thing to Photoshop out. The only problem is it's not hitting up here too hard. So to fix that, we are going to have to get a little bit creative. What do we think? How much time do we have?
We're good.
We're good? Everybody's pumped. Everybody still has energy. Hopefully you guys ate before you got here. Let's move it further back so it drops more shadows across the car. And let's go right about here and just see basically what happens. This could be interesting. It's just minute movements make a huge difference. And this is looking a little bit better. We're going to have a lot of reflection here in the front, but it's looking okay. It's looking okay. We are getting there. slowly but surely. Some of the stuff on the hood, I think I will just use the ambient lights for, but at least now we have details on the front. We have some more richness in the paint here. I'm just trying to light up the shoulders, basically. So, the last part that I want to hit with light on the body is this right here on the front lip of the car. And for that, I'm just going to move this light further around. So it points, once again, the modeling lamp's going to help us a lot. And I'm going to move it closer right here. So now it should hit the one part of the car that we haven't touched yet with light. And let's take a look. And it does. There we go. So now we have a bunch of plates that I think work really well. We are missing a little bit of light here in this corner. Let's fix that just by moving this a little bit further. Hopefully it's not in the shot. And if it is, whatever. It's part of the fun. It might even be too tall. It's not even pointed the right way. So we'll lower it a bit and we'll point it a little bit more accurately. There we go. Ta-da! So, let's see. Once again, we haven't touched the focus this entire time. We're leaving it very similar. There we go. Now we have more information to play with here. We can get rid of it, keep it black if we want later, but for now, I think that's a good place to be. So now there are two more shots that we need to take. There's one with light on the rims specifically, and then there's one with the headlights on. We can do both those at once. So we can move now these flags. If you boys want to help, I'm basically shooting straight this way, so we only need one flag reflecting on each of the rim. So this flag, for example, can just move entirely. Go over there. Nothing is precious. Don't be afraid to just throw the stuff around. So you can move that pretty much directly behind the rim. So from the camera's point of view, there's a lot of reflections in this shiny new rim. There we go. And then that can go basically similar spot. So further over there. Nice. Actually, not the exact same spot, but like relatively. I got it. It's so hard to explain if you're not looking directly from the camera's point of view. So if we get in between the camera and the subject, that's pretty close to it. This can go further down. Will it go further down is the question. This is the old broken one. Oh yeah, look at that. How about that? Today it wants to work with me. And then we'll just toss this out so it blacks out the ground and then we don't have any reflections. So if you are just shooting details of the car, just bouncing around with a tight lens, this is a good technique to play with. It will teach you a lot about light and light placement. Then let's move this a little bit closer and hope that it doesn't block the rear wheel. And then this one can basically just leave. So, easy way to store this, bundle it up, toss it over. If you're into car photography, I highly recommend these. It's just a piece of wood with some felt stapled to it. Not very complicated. In fact, very easy. The lighting we have done so far has been from behind the subject at about 45 degrees. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to take one of these lights and put it behind the rim at about 45 degrees. And then one of these lights behind the rim at about 45 degrees. A little bit lower because now we want to focus specifically on the wheels. This is going to come down, air powered, that's nice. And there we go. So now you see before, after, ta-da. So now we're going to get a lot more shadows, a lot more brightness, a lot more focus on the rims. And not only that, we're giving ourselves a separate plate, basically, to play with to put on top of the last layer. Think of it as layers in Photoshop, right? We're giving ourselves multiple layers to add in to create one final photo later. We want the exact same lighting on this light, just on the front rim. And I'm a little bit behind it. I think it was in a good spot already. Ooh, there's a hole there. I almost lost it in the dyno. So there, that hits it pretty well. Those are very pretty looking wheels. Little modern versions of Fuchs. If you're a Porsche person, you know what that means. If you're not, I'm sorry, there's some Googling in your future. So let's try this. That was a very brisk walk, very impressive. How do we look? That's pretty good. We got a lot more brightness on this one than the back one. So I'm going to fix the back one a little bit. I think we're also getting a little bit too much reflection. So maybe what we can do is move the polarizer around to hit the side of the car and thus the rims as well. And I'm going to move the light further this way. This can go here, and the light can go further on it. Right, that's about, so if I'm facing the rim there, if I'm facing this, a little bit further behind. It also helps to talk with yourself. This is an important tip. This can drop lower if it feels like it. And of course it doesn't, come on. Oh, we can do it. There we go. Ah. All right. Don't take that out of context. Okay, there's too many light stands here. So we'll just call this good enough. And if it's not perfect, we'll move the front one. But I think it's going to be okay. Just looking for the rims now. You can do one rim at a time. It's probably easier, but if I can do both at once, it would save me a headache, a little bit of a headache in Photoshop. Little too bright on the front one for that. Can one of you just turn down the power a bit on the front one to like 8 instead of 10? Thank you very much. Let's keep an eye on this. There we go. Better. Now they're even. We have an equal playing field for the wheels. Okay, now the one thing we need is the headlights. So I'm going to turn off this light. I don't want anything else in the shot, so I'm going to try to keep the car as clean as possible and use only the headlights, because that way we can put that layer on top of the other layers and hit screen blend, and it should be good enough. Can you just move all this out, basically? Thank you very much. I don't want to start stepping on stuff just to get into things. I'm a big fan of options. So basically the way I look at car photography is shoot until you have tons and tons of options. It might be a little bit inefficient, but look at this interior, by the way. How pretty is this?
Go for it. What is it?
Can you imagine? It's so pretty. So you had two options with the Heritage Edition, if I'm not mistaken. You had a all black leather interior, or you could get this, which has corduroy seats. Corduroy seats. That's fancy. So I'll turn it on. Just one twist of the key. We don't want to turn the car all the way on because we just want the parking lights, basically. And let's pray they don't hit the camera too much and they're not too bright. And they're not. They look pretty good, actually. So let's, oops, that should be fine. There we go. Now we have a plate that has lights on it. So what we just do is put those layers on top of each other in Photoshop, hit screen blend, and then we should be good. One thing we can do to ensure that we're good is take out all the other light in the photo by dropping the ISO down, the shutter speed, and just making it dark until we have just a clean frame of only the headlights. And that's pretty good, maybe a little bit dark if anything. So I'm going to bring it back up and then try it there. There we go, much better. Now, one thing we can also do if we want to get really artsy is to hit the brake lights and sort of get a red glow behind the car. So for that, I'm going to make sure the lights are back on. Can somebody run and tell the guy? Because now, since we're starting to add ambient light around the car to blend in with the final photo, you want as much sort of, yeah, thank you, as much sort of equal lighting around the car as possible in the two different layers. It's kind of hard to explain. But basically what it's going to do is make sure that you don't have a hard edge when you're blending with a brush later or masking, and that you don't have to compensate really. You can, if you really want to get picky, and maybe it's smart, go back in time to when you had the lights on originally and find out your settings so you can mimic them exactly. I cannot see the settings in here. Maybe this. Oh, yeah, there we go. No. It was at, we remember it was at f8, right? I was shooting at f8 and when the lights were on first, yeah. It only tells me that the lens was on f2.8 for some reason, which is not true. I'm just going to make sure of that. Make sure I can't try. Ooh, hello. Ooh. There we go. It's much nicer. I can finally see. That's they hit the vampires in the room very hard. So ISO 160. We'll match it exactly. I'm already at 160. F8, and it was at 1/3 of a second. Go back to here to 1/3 of a second at 34 millimeters. Yep, I'm still there. There we go. So there we go. Now we're exactly the same. It's not going to make a huge difference, but if, Morten, you get into the car and hold the brake light or hold the brake pedal. If you don't have a human friend to help, you can put a tripod and just wedge it between the seat and the brake pedal. There we go. It doesn't do too much, but at least we have it. So I'm going to take that. I'm also going to put the polarizer back to just on the side. And then I think I'm okay with that. So then there we go. It's that easy. Cool. Then we have a large shot of the car. This is good. We have a ton of plates. We can put them together, make one final photo that I think is going to be pretty cool. You can let go of the brake. Yeah, we're good. I know you want to drive away, but that's not happening today. I've given myself a deadline of 2 years to buy that car. 2 years. So check back with me. I have to do a lot more live streams. I have to start getting paid for the live streams. I think we're good with the overall shot. How are we doing on time?
An hour.
We've been an hour?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's check in on the chat. Let's see what you guys are up to. That's right. I'm here reading. There's nothing new on the chat. No. Yeah, there's plenty new. So, Mats says, what is your plan for the background? I'm going to keep the background the same. I want to use the ambient lights because it is a workshop and it's very important for them to keep a pretty consistent view of the cars and the paint and whatever. So I like that the ambient light is sort of all-encompassing. I'm okay with the ambient light in here. I don't hate it. And I'm not going to make it that complicated on us. I don't want to start moving lights and make it more dramatic than it needs to be. So I'm going to keep it the way it is. Photoshop to be one color? Yes. So the white balances are going to be different between the photos, right? We have the one photo of the car where we're putting together all these different plates, and then we'll combine that with the photo of the entire atmosphere. I'm not a huge fan of yellow lighting. and it's kind of impossible to avoid when you're using like overhead or in-building lights. So I'm going to get rid of the yellow in Photoshop. I'm going to make everything clean, one color. I want the only color in the room to be on the car. So I'm going to clean up the white balance, clean up the lights, clean up the yellow, and then sort of combine and make sure they balance out in Photoshop later. Torta says, it's a lot of work to make one photo. It is. It is. And I know there's a lot of people who know a lot more than me who are going to say you could have saved time doing this and this. You could have saved time everywhere. But part of the fun part is that we get to play with lights today and see how big little differences make and how big moving lights to certain parts of the car makes. Yannicka says, hope you fit in time to take a shot of the headlights as well. Thank you for reminding me. I appreciate that. There was a 50-50 chance that I would have forgotten that. Tommy says, I must say that the biggest difference for me, since I come from an analog background, is that you work and think in layers like you do in Photoshop. I do that in Photoshop, but I've never done it in photography. So I'm looking forward to the course in post-production. Yeah, me too. It's a lot of work we've given ourselves. But it's going to come together. I promise you. It's going to look cool. I'm going to do some work ahead of time to make sure everything is seamless. Martin Erickson says, go Kyle. Thank you very much, Martin. Happy to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. So we have a few more things we could do. Well, how much time do we have, relatively? As much as we need?
Like an hour, hour and a half?
Like an hour and a half? Should we start doing some details? Let's do some details. Let's focus on some of the things that I think this car should be remembered for. Since we have all of our stuff set up there, I think it's going to be easier to move the car. I'm going to turn off the lights just so we aren't draining battery. There we go.
You want some 911 plates in the car before you move it? Yes, we want some.
911 plates.
Just to have some on the front?
Oh yeah, do you have plates?
Yeah.
Sweet. One of the ugliest parts about cars when you're shooting them is this thing. It never goes away and it never looks better. So the best you can do is try to make it suit the occasion. And he's got some special plates that say 911 that I think will clean it up. But if it doesn't work, I think this is pretty clean as well. I don't think it's that bad. Ideally, you just take all of it off and you have a clean version. But only concept car photographers get to do that. So we're not going to move the car yet until he does that. But I can walk you through what I want to shoot. So some of the things that are special with this car is that some of the details and the badging are in gold. For example, the Targa. And I'm seeing right now that you can get not only this Targa badge, but the interior in one shot if you roll the window down. So we'll try to focus on that. We also have the badge on the back. Porsche 911 Targa 4S in gold. Pretty. The closer we get to that, the harder it's going to be to avoid this. So it's nice to have something on here to make it look a little bit more presentable. We also have the Heritage badge, which is only on this car. We have the brake light. Fun fact, the brake light in the shape of a pause button. You hit the brake, the car pauses. It's pretty funny. Other than that, we could focus a little bit more on the rims if we wanted to. One thing I do want to focus on is there's a badge in the front of the car that marks what number it is, because it's a very rare car. There's only 992 of them made. This is number 366. I want to show that off because I think it's cool. So I'm going to show you how to put lighting through a windshield, how to light it up so it's going to look cool. One thing we can start doing though, while that happens, Ulrich, by the way,
Yep.
champion. Do you mind being on camera? It's too late.
It's a bit crooked, does it matter or?
Nah, crooked's fine.
Yeah.
Then before you put that one on, I'm just going to take a photo of it, just so I have it. And then, there we go. So, can you also turn the car around?
Yeah.
Ulrich is the man around here.
With or without license plates?
With the license plate.
Yeah.
So if the back of the car is basically right here, just past the dyno, then we can focus on some of the details of the car. For now, I want to set up a softbox. This is a pain in the ass, and you should feel lucky you get to watch me suffer through this. Because we are going to start focusing on details, I kind of want full control over the direction of the lights. And when we move the lights closer You're not going to be able to hear anything in a second. When we move the lights closer, oh, what a noise. What a noise. God, that car, I just want to like watch him drive that car. So when we end up moving the lights closer to shoot more details, the light is going to become stronger, inevitably. And when it becomes stronger, we can sort of get rid of all the ambient lighting by overpowering it. So we're going to use a softbox to make sure that the light we do add is of good quality and very, very clean. And it's a pain in the ass to make that happen, but softboxes are better if you spend more money on them. I bought this a long time ago. It's the first softbox I ever bought. It is a strip light. If you're shooting cars or wine or anything that has very high reflections, a strip light is your best friend. This is a 182 tall by 30 wide, and it's beautiful. You'll be able to see it in a second. I'm just going to finish it off by putting this fun little project. How's everybody doing? Once again, if you are new to the stream, thank you very much for joining. If you've been here a minute, thank you very much for hanging around. If you're watching this afterwards, you missed out. Next time you get to be in the chat if you join live. Speaking of which, there is a chat, and you can go into the chat and write me a message. And I'm reading everything. Everything. And I'm answering all the questions. I'm going to guide Ulrich a little bit. Come a little further. There we go, that should be perfect. I think all of our cables will reach that, correct? Yeah, more or less. If our cables don't reach, then we'll figure it out on the way. Thank you very much, man, I appreciate that. Ulrich and I have been shooting together all day today and just moving cars back and forth and back and forth. So I appreciate the effort, man. It takes a lot of indecision to make these things perfect. Or maybe that's just me. We'll never know. This thing is filthy, maybe I should just buy a new softbox. Should get a Profoto one. Should get a sponsor. Profoto. Hook a brother up. God, Profoto's so good, but it's so expensive. Am I allowed to criticize people you distribute? Okay, so there we go. Now we have a light. And we can set that here for now. We'll use this light. It's just the closest one. Can you turn off that one? That's on. Just hold the white button down. Easy as that. We'll take off this. There it is. Cool.
This one too?
Nice. Yeah, is it on? Yeah, it shouldn't be. Thanks, man. Easiest way to put on the softbox is to take the light off. Unscrew it. Unscrew it some more. There we go. Stick it straight in over the top. I want it kind of zoomed out because I want an even spread of light. So we're going to leave it about there. Lock it in. There we go. And then we're going to Velcro to make sure no light leaks. And there we go. So now we have a softbox. It goes back on. Tight, tight, tight. Or actually, you know what? I'm not going to get lazy. I'm going to use the C-stand. The C-stand is going to give us a boom that we can lean over the car with and hopefully get some better lighting. So, can one of you guys sandbag this? Thank you very much. Actually, it might be better if I turn this way. Yeah. So here, that way the long leg is underneath the, can you put a second one just in case? There's a lot at risk here. Then this can come off and that can get out of here. Now this is where it gets tricky. Ta-da! Come on. You're making me look stupid. There we go. So it's going to bend a lot. We just need to play carefully. This needs to rotate a bit. There we go. So Relatively safe, right? Look at that, it's got some spring. That's how you know it's good. Bits of real panther. I have one laugh. One person laughed at that. Nobody else got the reference? I'm going to assume that's the case. Okay, the hard part is now I can't see the... Is it on? Does anybody remember if I turned it on? I'm just going to grab a chair so I can climb up over it and see if I turned it on. This is where I wish I was 2 meters tall. I'll put the chair on this side. There we go. Now it is on, and it is on super strong. I'm not going to put any gels on. I'm going to leave it daylight because it should be powerful enough to overpower everything else. And now, okay, I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. Let's start with the badge. Let me find my angle first. And with this, I'm going to go handheld. I'm just going to move everything up a little bit so I have more reach. Is that okay? Cool. I don't want to break everything. I'm just going to use this almost as a table to hold the lights. I might switch to a tighter lens, but for now, let's try this. Actually, you know what? I'm pretty good here. So you all can see basically what I'm trying to do. I'm gonna move this so I have somewhere to put the camera when I'm not holding it. And basically, I just want the light straight above it, pointed down. So let's go. This is a task. This is not meant to be easy. The further up, once again, we are playing with shadows. We are not playing with lights. So I want this to be, there we go, as like over it as possible. And with that, I think I'm in an okay place. I'm gonna turn this. There we go. That's pretty much straight over. Turn on the modeling lamp so we can see our work. And let's go ahead and take a picture and see what happens. Maybe a little bit further over, actually. This is a pain in the ass. This one is hard to move. So let's go ahead and play with it. I'm going to leave the polarizer on and try it. There we go. So, oh yeah, we're not looking at a live view of the camera. So I'll shoot one here. I can't see the, yeah, too bright, as I expected. Shutter speed 1/3 is too little. I'm gonna bump it up to something super fast. Because if this is in freeze mode, it should be flash mode normal. It should be on freeze. So there we go. Now it's going to be fast, so I can put the shutter speed up super high and get rid of everything else in the photo. There we go, that's better. But I don't think f8 is the right call. Let's go to f5.6 and turn the ISO a bit up. And let's shoot here. There we go, that's looking better. Now we're just trying to get the richness out of the paint. Let's put it on daylight because the light from the softbox is daylight. How does this look? Better, more accurate colors. It's looking pretty close. One thing I do want to do is move the strip light a little bit further around the car. So that the light wraps it a bit better. For that, I'm going to push the lights further back. Oh my God, this thing is so heavy. And then to get more out of the light, I'm going to tilt it up. Because from my angle, it's going to make the light look a little bit longer. There we go. So, here we go. We are looking okay. We're looking pretty strong. One thing I can do is just leave it on a tripod. And then we'll have more consistency between the shots. What was my frame? Just there. And I'm pretty happy with that. Zoom out a bit. I'm going to go manual focus and get it right on the badge that says Targa 4S, because that's the qualifying factor here. Okay, so a couple things we're learning. The badge is pretty dark. The shadows are a little bit too much. I don't want to add in a reflector because it's going to add too much white in the shot. It's just going to add a little bit too much complication. So I'm going to just pull this out a little bit. And then from a distance, I'm going to use a second bare bulb that's going to just fill in some of those shadows. It's going to be more or less just straight on. It's going to be very low powered because the bare bulb is a lot weaker than the softbox. And then I'm going to tilt it up. So this on. Actually, let's turn it off first so we can see this. By the way, what I was trying to show with the polarizer is if you look at the shot currently, there's a little bit of excess information up here that we don't want. So I can turn the polarizer until it basically gets rid of that. I can also turn it so it gets rid of some of the softbox on the side. What we want is this. So now it should be a little bit cleaner. There we go. Now's a good time for a phone call. Sorry guys, I will put it on silent. I'm surprised we went that far without the phone call. So yes, the same things that I was struggling with before are happening. I want to put this a little bit more over the car so the white isn't on top of the lettering. We'll hit it there. There we go, much cleaner, much sharper. You can see the feet of the tripod in the background, but it is what it is. We'll fix that. Now I'm going to turn on this light at an angle just to add some richness to the colors. I'll try it at f7, maybe f6.5. Let's see what that does. I have a feeling, oh, there we go. So it adds a little bit, but it also gives us this reflection. So before and after. I think there's a problem in the reflection that it's giving us here. But other than that, it's looking okay. I might put it more or less where the camera is and turn it up a bit. And it doesn't go any lower. These big boy tripods. So let's try this. Oop, we got 2 shots for 1 there. There we go, a lot better. This is gonna be a lot easier to remove. This one's gonna be easier to remove as well. And then let's turn it up and just try to fill in all of that area. Oh, the trigger ran out of battery is what happened. That happens faster than you expect. That's pretty good. Cool. I'm happy with that. I'm going to in post clean up this, get rid of this. I might move it back actually now to save myself the hassle. The little legs are in the corner of the picture. I keep talking as if everybody's seeing the screen. Are they? Okay, cool. I hope I'm not just talking to myself. Let's do this. Let's try something really funky. Let's tilt this up so it becomes extra long and then move it further back. I guess that's safe, right? Seems fine. Let's turn on the modeling lamp too so we can see what we're doing as we're doing it. Oh, it was on. Cool, so. a little bit sharper. These little lines here, we're going to be able to get rid of later. I'm going to try one with this extra bare bulb just around the side, and then I think I'm good for this. Yeah, that looks good. I'll go even further with it. So here. So it's basically the same angle. It's just adding some fill in the shadows. I'm going to turn it up. You're going to be able to see a reflection of the light in the background. Hopefully it's manageable. And it is. It just adds a little bit extra. Cool. So there, we have another one to play with. I do want to shoot the Porsche Heritage logo on top. For that, I'm going to go handheld. And then I'm going to do roughly the same thing. Kind of backlight it, but light it a bit from the top. Let's try it just like this and see what happens. I have to turn on, I don't have auto review turned on. New camera. And with a new camera comes new challenges. How do you do that? Kieran, you know this camera like the back of your hand yet?
No, not yet.
I need it to show me the playback right after I shoot the photo. Viewing?
Playback option.
Oh yeah? Ooh, we almost had it.
Viewing, maybe?
Playback target. We're getting there. Thanks to this easy to use menu, we will figure it out. And there we go. Now I've committed us to figuring it out. Media, format, file, no. Shooting mode, no. This is probably really fun to watch.
So fun.
Okay, while you try to figure that out, I'm going to check the chat and see what's going on. And then if you figure that out, Kieran, let me know. If not, it is not the end of the world. Is that safe on there? Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, how's it going? I want to see what's up. What's going on in your world? Where did we leave off? Edgar says, hi, Kyle. Mats says, is there a reason that you use the long square softbox and not a round? When you're shooting with lights directly on the car, you're going to get a lot of reflecting lights. It's just impossible to avoid. So we want to control the reflection that you do get on the lights, and we want the source of the light to be able to hit as much of the car as, not as possible, but as much of the car as it's going to make it look the best. So using the long square, the strip light, instead of a round one, you end up controlling the light a lot better. And with the curves of the car, it's just more flattering, right? The lines ride the curves instead of filling in all the curves. So then you don't get just the circle reflecting on the car, you get a little bit more control. Michael says, I need to try these detail shots on my metallic black 10-year-old Citroen C3 Picasso. Thanks from Bonnensberg. Dude, Michael, you joke, but the C3 Picasso is legendary. The car is great. I don't know if it is the exact one I'm thinking about, but the A-pillars have the little windows so you can see when you're turning out. Those things are key, man. That's a hero's car. Runar, really fun to watch your lecture, Kyle. Thank you very much, Runar. Thank you for being here. Happy to have you here. And with that, how are we looking? Any luck?
I found out that it's called display/auto review.
Display/auto review. Okay.
Trying to find it.
So now it's a race to see who can find display/auto review. Why do we not know this? This new menu is so hard to get used to, but it's so nice, and I'm so excited to get used to it. Display media info? No, so close. I was one word off. Have you seen the menu, by the way? Can you show it? I guess we're allowed to show that, right? So this is the menu. You have basically all of the tabs here now instead of on top. And then from here, you can go into the subfolders, basically, and work around there. So it's a little more intuitive if you're used to working through a computer.
Yes, I found it.
Oh, we have found it. Curious to see how far away I was. Oh, it's in the tools.
It's in the tools, so it's all the way down the bottom. And then display option.
2 seconds is perfect. Yeah, fantastic.
There we go.
That's going to save us a lot of headaches. Perfect. So, as I was saying, we want the badge. And I kind of want the badge to be shot. You know what? Let's switch to a 50 millimeter. Why not? We've been using the 35 for too long. Let's switch it up. 50 is already on a camera. I'll just put the 85 on there and pretend I'm going to use it later. 50. So, switch directly on the tripod. There. Can you take that? Thank you. And just like that. Always shoot native, ladies and gentlemen. Native lenses are your friends. If you're shooting Sony, you will not get more out of your camera with a third-party lens. I can guarantee you that. So, 72 millimeter polarizing filter. Always have the polarizing filter with you. It's key. It's key to controlling light on a car, controlling reflections. And since we are controlling reflections, where am I going to shoot this photo from? Let's see. Oops. I'm going to go f2.8 because I want kind of shallow. I want to focus specifically on the badge, maybe here, and then I'm going to move the light. So if I shoot a photo here, you can see more or less what I mean. Let's play with the polarizing filter. Oop, spot focus. Oh yeah, so I shoot the left-eyed. So when I put my nose on it, sometimes the touchscreen registers my nose. Did that not go off? It did not. So we might have run out of battery on this one. Does somebody have an extra battery for me? By any chance? Ooh, that's it. If you're not using Profoto flashes, these things are key. It's so convenient. Oh, thank you very much. Then this goes here. We're in, this back on. And we're right back at it. I'm going to turn off this light. Once again, we start with one light and then we fill in if we need. I want to keep this simple, so hopefully one light is good enough. I want to move this further up the car and further up in height. So I'm going to go here. Let's do that. And then I also want to backlight it. Everything looks a little bit better backlit when you're shooting details. So I'm going to move that for now. I'm just going to move it right about here. And then we'll feel it out, see where that's at. Is anybody comfortable moving this this light? Yeah? Okay, cool. So I can just call on you guys when I need it. It's heavy. So if I have modeling lamp on, and I can see what I'm doing. Polarizer set to here. There we go. It's a little bit at a goofy angle. There we go. Now we're getting sharper lines. One thing I do want is more of a sweeping pattern of the line throughout all the curves and not just this harsh square. So I'm going to go manual focus, get in here, and shoot there. That's a lot nicer. Can you still see the photos? Yep, cool. So we're getting a lot more of a classy vibe, a little bit more focused on just the badge. One thing we could also try is getting the reflection completely out of the photo. And for that, can you move the light, be very careful, further up the car? And then I'll go to where I'm shooting and just sort of monitor the progress. Right about there, and then if you turn the lights clockwise, right about there, let's try that. So if I'm shooting here, having the modeling lamp on helps a lot. Let's see. Clean, classy, super sleek. The light is reflecting very well off the black part of the car. And with that, we are getting very kind of mysterious photos. Before I'm done with this, I want to maybe do one vertical. Let's play with a polarizer. There we go. Can you move the light even further over the car? Just further in. There we go, and then turn it that way, like the whole light. There we go, a little bit less. There, perfect. Let's try that. How's my posture? It's photographer problems. So with this, we're getting a much cleaner. I can also include some of the light in the photo just to give direction to the light and make it not just a pure black background. So with that, there, and then without the light in the photo, here. And then we get a very classy, easy one light photo. You don't need to overcomplicate it. All you need is one light. Very sharp, very pretty. This light, ambient light in the roof, is photoshoppable. It is what it is. One thing we can also do is add another light to bring out the paint more, because I think the paint is so key. So I'm going to turn on this light and then have it pointed pretty much straight here. Hopefully you won't see the reflection of the light, and the light will just sort of spread through the paint. So let's try this, and if this works, we'll move on to the last shot. Let's get this focus. A little bit more richness in the paint, which is nice. Let's go a little bit more over the car. Can one of you guys move that light even closer and further back around that way? There we go. So now the paint is a little bit more backlit. Let's see. Yeah, now we get a much better glow out of the paint. I'm gonna go further back. You can go even closer to the car with it. There we go, perfect. Thank you very much. Sweet. Cool photos. Taking a million photos of the same thing, but hey, it's part of the process. I'm gonna do one more and then I'm happy. Once again, I like options. Cool. So basically between all those photos, I'm just refocusing and making sure that my focus is on the right subject. Okay, so if there's any last photo I want to do, it is of somewhat of the interior. I want to show how I light interiors. I want to show, I'm going to turn this off real quick just so we don't drain battery. I'm also going to move it away from the car. Ooh, slowly. There we go. Now, if nobody's paying attention, that doesn't become an issue. I'm going to shoot basically straight down here. I'm going to roll down the window. I'm going to try to include the Targa badge. I'm going to try to include the steering wheel. I'm going to try to just tell a story with the photo. Oh, come on. There we go. Perfect. So, first things first, set up the photo. I'm going to keep it on a tripod just so I can move around and check it every so often. I don't like too much of the background, so I'm going to try to darken it out by overpowering everything with our lights. If that doesn't work, then we'll just have to turn off the background. Or turn off the background, turn off the lights. I'm losing my English. We're that late into the stream. Any new messages in the chat? Yes, Henrik says, what's your thought about using the grid on the softbox for shooting the cars? Since we're trying to, I only come here to check the chat, so Thomas can put the camera and down on a tripod and get a little break. Since we're trying to show the reflection of the light in the car, it's important that we have full control over the light and the light remains as clean as possible. With that, we might have the problem of overcomplicating the reflection if we use a grid. You add too many lines, you will see the grid in the photo. You can try to move the light around so it becomes a little bit more incognito. But I think if you're really trying to show certain edges, like we did with the last photo with the peaks on the grill, whatever the thing is on the back of the car. I guess it's a grill, right? The engine's in the back. It makes sense. Since we're really trying to show those peaks and really trying to show the heritage badge, we want to show the reflection of the light in those places. So that's what we're doing when we're playing with shadows. And if you start using a grid, you're going to get a little bit distracted by the grid lines going through that light. Or I am. You can do whatever you want to do. Where were we? Yeah, there we go. Can we see the EXIF during the review photos? Can we? I have no idea. I don't use the viewer too often. I usually use Lightroom, but this camera's so new that Lightroom doesn't support the files. Just take my word for it. The EXIF is totally awesome. It's perfectly rad, and you're totally missing out. No, it's not too important. Just sort of feel it out, take the photo, and you'll get a feel for it. The idea is to adapt to your surroundings, and the way we want to adapt to these surroundings is by darkening all the ambient light, getting rid of all the natural light that's in the building, and just focusing on using our lights in particular. Edgar says, holy, the pictures look good. Well, holy to you, Edgar. Your pictures look great too. Thank you, Edgar. Man, I appreciate that. That's very nice to hear. You get sort of lost in the angle finding and the light moving when you don't pay attention to the photos yourself. So it's good to hear. What brand circular polarizing filters do you use or do you recommend to buy for Sony native lenses? Any idea, Kieran? What kind of polarizing filter would work best for Sony native lenses? I guess it doesn't. Polarizing filters don't discriminate.
Shoot too, I guess.
Yeah, they don't really discriminate between brands. I like to keep it cheap. I'm a big fan of not spending too much money on the little accessories. I'd rather spend my money on the big important parts of the camera stuff. So I use the, are they Hoya? If they're not Hoya, Hoya's gonna be mad. They are Hoya. So I use Hoya. I have one for each one of my lenses, 72 millimeters, 77, and 82 millimeters. They work well. Keep them clean. They'll treat you well. So yes, moving into the last shot. I want to keep the 50 on. I need to move either the car or everything around the car. It's probably going to be easier to move the car, isn't it? Does anybody want to move the car? Morton? So if you move it so the tail end is facing me here. Yeah, basically. We have too many cables coming out of too many machines right now. I don't want to overcomplicate it. Will it blow out the mic if I get close to the exhaust?
Yeah, give it a go.
Okay, here we go. Listen to this. Yeah, yes. Now we're talking. Cool guy car stuff. Let's see if Morton knows how to drive. So, back towards me, as if he could hear that. Straight back. Keep coming, straighten it up. Straight back. Keep her coming. Keep it coming. A little bit further. There it is, cool. Awesome. Nice. Very satisfying, isn't it?
No, it is.
That's a nice place to be. Ooh, that's a nice place to be. The corduroy is so comfortable too. That's such a good cruiser. Then, I'm going to straight up the wheel. Nope. Oh, too many mic packs is making this a little bit difficult. Just want to straighten it up. Looks relatively straight to me. Cool. So try to get up without using it and without touching the paint. Oh, I did it. Very graceful. Then I want to frame the Targa logo and the wheel and the dials in the same photo. for that, I'm going to flip this out. I'm going to raise the tripod one leg at a time. And here we go. Somebody should make a tripod that has like an extremely long this. So you only need to push out one leg and then you can get like 2 meters of clearance out of this. That'd be nice. That would save me a lot of effort. So further down. And then I'm gonna go in a little bit closer. Targa is in frame. Actually, I'm gonna go further up. It's a lot of indecision now. But I'm pretty okay with this. I just gotta be careful I'm not stepping on anything as I'm moving back and forth. Right here, I basically want only the Targa logo in focus. So I'm going to use focus magnifier, get in there, f2.8 I think is a good place to be. And then I'm going to put that light straight over top of it, straight over top of the whole car maybe. And just hope, oh my God, this thing is heavy. Oh, I'm gonna hurt myself. There we go, cool. So this taller. There we go. It's a good place to be. So we're gonna get kicked out by the cleaners here in a second. But I promise this will be the last photo. For now, thank you guys very much for joining, but let's finish this off strong. Let's try one here. Pretty clean, good start. I think it's got a problem in that it lights up the inside a little too evenly. I want the inside to be a little bit more angled with the light. And I also want the Targa logo to be a bit more angled. So I'm gonna move it back this way. There we go. Slowly but surely. Put the sandbag back on. Let's try this and see how this looks. I think we're okay here. Much better. Much better. I'm gonna take a look on the computer and just make sure, validate my own opinion. Yes, it looks very clean. One thing I do want to do is light up the interior a bit better. So I'm gonna take a second light and do that. Where is my second light? There we go. Is this on the whole time? How about we try it with this light off? That could be useful. Yeah, it didn't make much of a difference. Although it kind of did. And you know what? Happy accident. It was much better with that light on. But I like this area a lot better with this light, but with the other light on as well. I like the detail it brought out in the Targa logo. So I'm going to do a mix. I'm going to turn on this, this light is off now. I'm going to turn on, that was very light. Turn on the modeling lamp. I'm going to point the light further up. I'm going to zoom it as much as possible. This is where a grid would help. But for now, we just have this. And I just want it to cut. You see how the light just sort of cuts down here? I just want it to cut off there. So I'm going to turn this down in power because now it's going to be extremely strong compared to the softbox. Hit it once. There we go. That's more or less what I'm looking for. Yes, much better. Much cleaner. Okay, so now that we have two lights set up, I want one more on the interior to help sort of pump the interior up a bit. And with that, I'm going to not walk over the cables. I'm going to take this light, put it over here, and just sort of flood the interior with light. I'm going to go, let's start with 6, because I don't want it to be super bright. And you gotta be a little bit careful. Maybe I should roll down the windows. I'm gonna have to, oh. You wanna turn the key? If you just turn it. There we go. And then now we have the added benefit of all the gauges being on and some serious warning lights. It's not happy. That's a lot of warning lights. I don't know if I like that. So let's try it with that light on. We get a little bit more out of it if I go before and after. So you see some of the details here on the interior. That's a little bit better. I'm going to turn up a bit, but I don't want it too much. I like that it's not really the focus of the photo. There we go. Let's go with 7.0. And let's hit the shutter. Uh-oh. Okay, remote's unavailable. Is what it is. Much better. So that's a good place to be. I'm happy with that. I think that looks clean. I think it looks good. And from there,
Back on.
oh, what's up? Welcome back, everybody. How long was I quiet for?
10 seconds.
Oh, nice. So now I'm just shooting past the Targa logo and shooting the interior, but I do kind of want to keep the Targa logo on it. So I'm going to go manual focus, get it perfect, just shoot the steering wheel, play with the polarizer until it hits. It's been hitting the screen a little bit too much, and when it does that, it darkens the screens. Oops. Where is it? Ah, the screens are dark naturally because I am shooting at a ridiculously low, ridiculously high shutter speed. So I'm just going to turn them all off. It's just the center dial is analog, so it looks pretty regardless. I'm going to do one with a long exposure. Oops. To get the dials a little bit better, but that's not working too well because these lights are... Basically, I just want a plate with the dials lit up. So I'm going to turn off the flashes and just do one of the dials. Cool. So there we go. There's a million other things I could do. What time is it now? How are we doing? Yeah, we're doing okay. Should we call it there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, like, there's a million more things I could do. There's a billion. The one thing I do want to do that I didn't get time to is the badge. Maybe we could do it real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah? Let's do it. Okay, so the badge. I'm going to turn off all the lights, just going with the one light. We're going to go handheld to save time. I'm going to open the doors so I can get in from here. And I just want to shoot the badge that says 9/11 over on the side. And with that, I'm going to have to carry this quite a long distance. Take this off to make it easier. There we go. There we go. Around the world. Yeah, free. Ooh, I'm dying. Okay. So that is not exactly where I need it. I want to shoot very tight straight in on that badge there. And for that, I want the light to come pretty much straight down on top of it. So I'm going to take this back. Can you bring the sandbag over here? I'm going to lower this a little bit. I'm going to tilt this so it... Oh my God, come on. There we go. Tilt it so it's pointed straight down. That's better. Then I'm going to move this back in. over the windshield, and hopefully the lights will reach it there. So if we sandbag that, better safe than sorry. Let's see, let's play. This can come off the tripod. Oop. Don't tell anyone. All is well. This is the concerning part. Can you turn the whole thing? Like, yeah. Does it turn like that? Cool. It's gonna lean over the car. Go focus magnifier. And it's way too bright. Also way too bright. And way too dark. Okay, I'm also going to switch lenses, put on the 85. Can I reach over here? Yeah. That is not it. That is not it. Oh yeah, it's on the other camera, of course. So let's just stick this on for the time being. And then this here, and now we have the 85 for that extra zoom. And then we'll go ahead and throw the back cap on, and now we're safe enough, whatever. It's a tool, it's meant to be used. And I'm not gonna do a polarizing filter on this, I'm just gonna go straight guns blazing. How far can we move this? That's good to know. I'm going to use it. And there we go. We are in focus here. Clean, simple. I'm going to move around to the other side so it's not perfectly reflected. Can we move this? Can you just pick up the whole thing and slide it this way? There we go. That should be good enough. Then this cable can stick under here. Let's see how close can this thing focus? There. Let's go vertical. Just for the gram. I want this to be, so I'm using the focus magnifier right now, just to make sure I get the badge in focus, because I'm shooting at a very high aperture, but I think it's too high, so I'm going to go to f6.3, turn the ISO up to compensate, and then shoot it like that. Now it's dark. The difference in power. Wait, and that's battery on the trigger, but I'm pretty happy with where we are. Is there anything else I want to do? See, this is the problem. I can bounce around like this for hours. Yeah. So let's call it there. I'm good. I'm happy. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's about it. I'm going to give this to you. Thank you. We can wrap up. Where do we want to wrap up? What's the coolest spot? Front of the car. Let's do it. Yes, that is it. It is very complicated. It is a lot of lights, a lot of moving things around. It is a very beautiful car. It is a very beautiful camera. Actually, let's unplug it so I can finish with the camera in my hand. Yes. Yes, Queen. Thank you. Yes, Sony's Alpha A1. It is a boss. It is a monster. 50 megapixels. I cannot wait to play with these files. We're going to get some magic. I promise you. There was a lot of shooting, a lot of back and forth, a lot of moving lights, a lot of details, and a lot of complicated thinking that maybe is hard to sort of see coming together. But I promise you it will. And you will see that on Friday when I live stream at 2:30?
Not sure.
At a time that you can find out very soon.
Yeah.
If not 2:30, follow Foto.no on Instagram. They will tell you. Follow them on YouTube. You will see it. if they haven't already put it out. It is out, I'm sure it is. But I will see you there. It's going to be awesome. Thank you guys for joining. Actually, before we leave, let me take a look at the chat one last time. Oh, I don't want to leave anybody behind. What's going on? How'd you like that run, by the way? Heidi says, claps. Yes. Edgar says, is carrying lights part of your workout routine? Yes. Henrik says, thanks a ton for the great live stream. It's been a ton of fun. Can't wait for the course and post-production from this shoot. Yes, me too.
Yes,
It's at 2:30. It is at 2:30 on Friday. I was correct. Sylvain Kavatz. Ooh, that's a cool name. Gives me the fire emojis. I'm about it. I love it. The cluster should be lightened when setting it in park without all the fault lights flashing. Yes, which we found out eventually. But we ran out of time, so we can't perfect it. It is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining. I appreciate you being here. If you're watching this after the fact, next time show up live. It's a lot more fun that way. Thank you guys for being here. Love the session. Yannicka, loved to have you here. Love to have all of you here. I will see you on Friday. Peace.